Greetings, my fellow fans. What the hey now?
It's my channel.
No, this is my channel. We're putting this my channel.
Now it's going on my channel.
My channel.
My channel.
I'm the brony. I'm the brony. I have the best jacket. Therefore, your argument is invalid.
It's my channel, though, so...
But it's my channel with the awesome jacket.
Children.
Me.
Children.
Me.
We're talking about ponies.
Yes.
Let's behave.
But it's not called Sharing is Caring because it's not Care Bears.
That's right. I didn't see one belly mark.
Hi, fine. Go.
All right. Greetings, my fellow fans. I am the man, the myth, the hippogriff, Silver Quill. And yes, I am the best dressed person on the sofa, of which I am mooching.
It is very ostentatious.
Ooh, that sounds fancy. And I am here with...
Kaiju no Kami.
And...
Hi, I'm Cruellica Kain with my Luna doll.
Fuck Luna.
Yes.
Viva la revolution.
Viva the Luna! But, yes, these are my buds, whom I have known well before my brony days. They've been with me on this journey, though they've always kept a respectful distance. Probably because I weirded them out.
Definitely.
Okay. See, we're all being honest here.
We had to have our personal space.
You know, circle of trust.
I wanted to respect your bronyisms. Admittedly, Luna and Piggy Pie are my favorite from MLP Friendship is Magic, though.
There we go. Do you have a favorite Kaiju no Kami?
No, not really.
Okay, then.
I mean, design-wise, the orange one?
Applejack?
No. The human form has like the orangey colored hair with the leather jacket.
Oh, Sunset Shimmer.
Yeah, that one's kind of cool.
The villain.
Only in the first movie.
But still,
And
you recognize her as the villain.
And the other villain, unicorn one or pig.
The other villain, Unicorn?
I thought there was a purple one with wings that was a villain.
Nightmare Moon?
Yes.
Okay. There we go. Though she's more black. She's one of the few characters that actually had a black coat.
I thought it was purplish.
Well, it also had some purplish elements.
Okay.
Okay, so we've ironed that out. See, this is how I got to bring people up to speed here. This is how we got to work things out. But I brought them up to more recent speed as we have watched the MLP G5 movie, A New Generation. Da-da-da, da-da-da.
Well, that's okay.
And now I am copyrighted claim. Da-da-da.
That's exactly what I thought of when I heard the movie was called My Little Pony, A New Generation. I was like, why not just call it A Next Generation and then somewhere, somehow, put Picard in it?
I was thinking of Demona and Xanatos.
Either would be good by me. I mean, we had John Delancey in Gen 4.
Well, yeah, because he was Q.
He was Q, he was also Discord. Who was basically...
No, I know that. He was
Q.
Discord.
He was Puck.
It was Puck. No, that was Brent Spiner.
Oh, yes. He was...
Oh, nerd cred.
Like I pay attention to Star Trek.
Oh, fan rage.
How dare you, sir? Star Trek is awesome.
Yeah, sure, if you needed something to put you to sleep real quick.
Oh boy, I'm gonna get some comments on my channel.
Or mine.
Or mine.
No, actually, most of mine probably wouldn't care about Star Trek anyway.
Mine.
Okay.
Don't make me hit you with that Frankenstein book.
Well, I've always needed more culture to the head.
It's Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
The name is Frankenstein.
Oh, well, it's Igor.
Damn your eyes. Or I did. Anywho. So, I thought it'd be interesting to get the perspective of two non-bronies on this movie. These are folks who clearly have not watched.
Yes, clearly.
As he refers to a major character as the orange one. And the purplish villain. And over here, Cruella's been a little bit more receptive. She's watched some and she knows how to refer to Pinkie Pie and Luna by name.
Well, Pinkie Pie... So, the reason why I like Pinkie Pie is you actually showed me an episode one time where Pinkie Pie was going around planning a party. And she went... I guess, is your channel PG-13, like, really? Or?
I try to be, but I dance the line of decency.
Okay, she was for lack of a better way of putting it, she was batshit crazy while trying to plan a party.
Oh, there you go.
And I live for it because she just, everything she did, she had a positive attitude on, but you could see that sinisterness in the background. And I just loved it.
You found your spirit animal, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
All right, yes. Ooh, I should put that on a bumper sticker. Pinkie Pie is my spirit animal.
Absolutely. She is my spirit animal.
Should I put spirit animal in like a blood font?
Yes. I think that would work so
Font matters.
Oh, I should also mention that both my friends are goth.
Well, I'm goth. He is...
Other?
Yeah, other.
Other goth.
So for anybody who's not on Kaiju's channel, we are actually married, and he is my joking second husband.
And
I'll be accepting that paycheck now.
I will be accepting a lot of I ship it comments.
And a lot of child support payments.
Child support for what?
Me.
Oh, he admits it! He admits it! You are all witnesses that he admits it!
Oh my God.
We have made history and a breakthrough in our relationship, all here on my channel.
Except this will also be on my channel.
Mine?
My God. Okay, guys. Okay.
I guess the race is going to be who's going to get it on their channel first.
Well,
Oh, no.
obviously it'll be you.
Yeah, I've got to drive home.
Well, no, I've got the Ultraman Trigger one to get up first. So it might be you.
Okay, this would be interesting.
Okay.
But anyway, we'll deal with it. We'll deal with the technical difficulties after. So, about this G5 movie, of which you seem very resistant to now talk about, could it be that you are attracted to the idea of pony? Could it be that I am witnessing the birth of a brony?
No.
Okay then.
Actually, I will admit though, I will watch the series.
Ah, there we go.
Because at least the characters seemed a lot of fun. I personally have to say, if I had to choose one character, it would probably be Izzy.
Izzy?
Especially when she goes and does her rap solo. That was by far the best thing I have seen. However, before we get into the movie review, I need to have a heart-to-heart conversation with you, as well as your Twitter fans, about chest floof.
Ah, yes.
Because now knowing the character that we have been looking at the chest floof of for like weeks on end, and for whoever doesn't know, this has been on his channel when we've been reviewing
Kamen Rider Revised.
It's how I make him uncomfortable.
So, I'm concerned about the fact that we are looking at chest floof for a female character.
Yeah?
And I'm like, is it now inappropriate? Because isn't it kind of like pornographic in a way?
No. Because this is a horse. Okay. Do you need me to point out on the doll where them titties are on a horse?
No, please don't.
This is a chest. I am not doing anything inappropriate by indicating this area, for there is nothing there to indicate. There is just a coat. Floof. Does this make you uncomfortable?
Yes, now it does!
Okay, but clearly we need to work on your biology. I think that's the real heart-to-heart here.
Well, the truth is, I actually failed biology.
That would explain a lot.
It does.
Shut up, all of you.
But no,
I'm only 27. I have time.
Biology was the one science I was actually good at.
So, just so everyone knows, on Twitter, they showed a picture of Izzy's neck and chest, showing the wonderful detailed rendering of her coat. Little fibers, little strands of hair on the coat. And I would distract myself as these two bicker, like the married couple they are. And I would just distract him as, look at the chest floof. And, well, now apparently I've traumatized Cruella.
Because it's inappropriate.
She says while gripping the plushie in that very area.
I'm trying to protect her. I don't know what crazy things you're thinking about, Brony.
I'm thinking about how to make you uncomfortable and embarrass you on TV. Sorry, YouTube.
But overall, I actually really enjoyed the movie. He started the movie off listening to the dad speaking, and he's like, that's from Better Call Saul. And I'm like,
Oh, yes. Let's talk about how the fact that these two really watched only 2/3 of the movie. Because for the first third, they are on their phone saying, I know that voice actor.
I watched the entire damn movie.
No, I saw you on your phone. You were like, beep, 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 beep.
No, I needed to look up the names.
2/3 of the movie, that was like the first 5 minutes.
It was!
Which, given it's a 90-minute movie, that was actually pretty close.
How?
Because...
Okay, 90 minutes, that means a half an hour is 1/3, another half an hour is another third, another half an hour is the final third. So how were we playing on our phones for 30 minutes for a third when he even clearly said at most it was like 10 minutes?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
So you failed biology, but I'm proud of your math skills.
Absolutely.
I can count on you.
And I'm gonna punch you.
Bring it.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, no, why are you hitting me? Because he did something. Oh, God, it's frozen all over again.
Just let it go. That's what actually I thought of for a part of this movie.
What, hitting me?
No, frozen.
Oh.
Because when she wakes up, her hair's all messy and she's doing like this whole song thing. I'm
like Anna.
I'm like, oh my God, it's the opening to Frozen.
Kinda. Although, I'll have y'all know, Be My Day is my favorite song.
That was the first one, right?
Yes, we're kind of skipping the dad, Argyle.
Well, okay, the dad I think was important because it kind of sets up the movie.
Yes.
And it's Chuck from Better Call Saul, if anybody has ever actually watched
He's
that
also
show.
been in The Simpsons.
Who hasn't?
But
A couple.
I like the dad because, one, kind of jealous of a kid having a dad like that because I never did. But he really was like that inspiration of following your positivity, following your dreams, and having a good outlook on life. I was really pissed off that they Disney-fied him.
Yeah, he done got Disney'd.
Off screen.
Off screen. Which means it could be really gory. You're a goth. That should be interesting to you.
Down wrong pipe.
Well, I timed that well, didn't I? So, yeah, Argyle, very positive male influence. And one of my critiques of early Friendship is Magic is that...
Can I have your phone?
No, you don't need the phone.
Oh, she wants to go beep or beep.
I wanted to see the song titles.
Oh.
It doesn't matter right now. It's
Well,
fine.
I can quote them for you,
Okay,
I
good.
think. But early critique of G4 is that most of the time male characters were either antagonistic, outright villainous, or stupid. The only ones I can think of who were positive examples were Mr. Cake, Spike, and Big Macintosh. And early on, they didn't have that big a role.
And Big Mac is Applejack's brother.
Yes.
So, for anyone who's not a brony, obviously, your channel, they're all going to be bronies.
Yes.
But, why were males regulated to, like, lower than background characters for the most part?
Well, this, as much as enjoyment as this has brought to a diverse array of fans, it is a show aimed at young women. And one unfortunate thing is the shortcut to making a character look empowered or positive is to bring someone else down.
True.
Guys, the shortcut is making them look strong. It's like they're fighting their way out of a temple with a beautiful girl slung over his shoulder or something like that. Girls, the guy becomes a bit of a dope or is the force to overcome or to humble.
Okay.
That's the shortcut. I'm pleased to say that Friendship is Magic introduced a wider array of male characters, some still needing a little humbling, but others very positive and supportive. So it balanced out the presentation as the series went on.
Well, I think the frustration I've always had with things like that, because that's actually a very 80s concept.
And I was raised in the 80s, so there you go.
Well, even for that to be part of the show, because when you think about, like, She-Ra, for example, She-Ra, there was only one male character of the main cast.
Yes.
And he didn't really play like a true damsel in distress type character.
That's the interesting thing, though. The 80s ones, you didn't really have that many damsel in distresses because Tila could hold her own.
Oh, no, she got captured a lot.
She got captured a lot, but she could still hold her own when it actually came to battle. Scarlet, Lady J, and G.I. Joe could hold their own.
I noticed that there's only like 1 to 2 girls. And
Yes.
how many Joes were there?
Well, yeah, there were a lot. But I'm saying though, given that there still were a lot of characters that could hold their own, because Chitara could hold her own in Thundercats.
Mm-hmm.
But as he's pointing out, is that to make for those shows as an example, to make the male character seem more macho or more necessary.
Alita 1 had to sacrifice herself to save Optimus Prime.
And then she died off screen at some point because she got Disney too.
Well, and so that's a very classic way of looking at it. It's actually interesting to have a show still have that concept with so many other modern shows taking on a different presentation.
Friendship is Magic was at the forward crest of a lot of innovation in cartoons. I mean, I'm trying to remember the exact context, as this was more than 10 years ago now.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think Adventure Time had started up yet.
Has it really been over 10 years?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't even remember when. I just remember all of a sudden people were like, bronies. I'm like, what? Oh, yeah, it was like, oh, whoa, this My Little Pony show's popular? What? That was 10 years ago?
And then they bought me an Applejack truck for my birthday.
You got me the goth versions of the main six.
She still got that.
Yes, I do.
She still got that.
Yes.
But going into this movie, being the next generation, I actually like that a male character is part of the main core group.
Yes. Because
Twitch seems extremely responsible. He's paid off his mortgage.
Oh, I think you mean Hitch.
Hitch.
Twitch is who he becomes with too much caffeine.
Hitch. Wow. Wait, isn't Hitch that Will Smith movie?
Yeah, but I never saw that. I can't make a comparison. I mean, truthfully, I think Hitch? Yeah, he was a relationship counselor.
Yeah.
Oh, don't know that one.
Okay, we tangent a lot.
Sorry.
Okay, so first, let me say, someone who knows almost nothing about My Little Pony's stuff, I was completely lost for the first 20 minutes. I was completely lost of what are they talking about? Who are these people? Like what?
Well, there's your first problem. You're asking, who are these people? They're not people.
Okay,
they're ponies.
Who are these characters? Like what are they referencing? Like when they're talking about? Because I'm like, okay, I want to know the story of why they don't have magic. I don't care about what's going on now. I want to know that story. I want to know where all this magic went. Why are they talking about the other groups like they're all of a sudden became these races to each group? And what I want to know that tale. I want to know what happened to make everyone separate. It's like with Zelda. All of a sudden, Hyrule is completely flooded with water, and everyone's been separated, and you don't really know exactly what transpired.
Wind Waker?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to know that story. I want to know how everything transpired to get to that point.
Well, that's been a critique online. Friendship is Magic did delve a little into the origin of their country, that it was originally 3 tribes. Earth Pony, Unicorn, Pegasus. And they were in conflict until the conflict literally froze over their land. And it was only when the 3 came together that a new land prospered and flourished.
So is this supposed to be a prequel to that then?
Oh my god. No, this is a sequel set very far in the future as far as I can tell.
That's why they have those little toys in the beginning.
That is true, but you could still work those as just being fan service things, not...
Fan service.
But yeah, it's just... I want to know the story of how everyone lost their magic and how everyone was separated.
Now that leads into my view on it, because the opening features Twilight Sparkle of Friendship is Magic and her crew, before a very funny usurpation of the narrative. For me, knowing the background of this show and the history of this world, and this is, by the way, the only My Little Pony sequel. Every iteration from G1 to G4 has been its own separate universe. This is the first time they've tried a sequel.
Well, yeah, because I am old enough at 27
27
to know.
27.
to know G1 of My Little Pony because I actually had a ton
That was
of
G2.
them. That was G2.
No, what? The My Little Ponytails?
The one we grew up in the 80s was G2.
Oh, that was G1.
No, that...
I swear it was G1. Hoof to heart.
Okay.
Oh my god!
You're the expert, so...
But knowing the history of the world, oddly enough, the question of how we got to this point is not my focus. It's a question on my mind as well, but this is not a where are they now story. This is a here are the new character story.
Mm-hmm.
My hope is when the series comes out, they'll explore what happened in the interim between the end of Friendship is Magic and the start of
Well,
this.
that's what I thought this movie was going to do, was going to explore why they lost their magic. So by the end, I was like, they didn't answer any of the intrigue I had.
So, yeah, that can be a blockade for a lot of people. It depends on where you put your focus.
Well, the only concern I have, being that it's a sequel, and I know we're going to get into the movie itself, so I apologize for delaying that.
We tangent. It's fun.
Is it doesn't, like, I'll watch it, but I already had an interest in the series because I knew you and we've talked about it for so long. But my concern is for new fans that may have not been familiar with My Little Pony, which they probably were living under a rock, but who may not have gotten into that show or were too young at that point. How is this going to capture new audiences?
Well, hopefully with the characters. Actually, I wonder if it isn't easier for someone unfamiliar with G4 to get into this, because then you're just talking about what came before. How many fantasy stories have we enjoyed where something really big and bad happened in the past, and they're essentially dealing with the fallout?
True.
Lord of the Rings.
Yes, but Lord of the Rings still showed you what led up to that point.
Harry Potter.
They didn't. You had to guess what happened.
For a while.
You got a story, like a background to it, but even when you got to the 7th book, you actually didn't fully see what happened. You still had to make your own imagination do some of the work.
Imagination!
But I just, I think that's always a concern for me, is that when you want to capture new audiences, you don't want to focus too much on the past, and you want to focus more so on the future.
Let's see. Trying to think. So at the beginning of the movie, we have after Daddy's dead.
Right.
They're all like blocking her from going to this presentation thing.
Yep.
Cantor logic.
Cantor
Because
Lodge.
they're showing off weapons to take care of unicorns and Pegasi. Because it seemed like sometimes they said Pegasi, sometimes they said Pegasus.
Well, as a kid, they said Pegasus because that just, well, in some ways that
rolls
makes
off
sense.
the tongue.
But Pegasi, I guess the plural.
So then she gets basically trapped, which was, okay, I like the scene when the dude's showing off his balloon, their balloon gear, and he flies out the window and Hitch says, well, that's going to be some paperwork.
Were you thinking of Hot Fuzz too when you said that? You were. I was too.
Well, that's because paperwork is the main thing that they always have to do. But
And
yeah.
police officer work, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be paperwork.
Well, considering that guy was in the air for the whole movie.
But all I thought of the entire time they're doing their little walk fashion thing was, buy this toy, buy that toy, buy this toy.
You have grasped the Hasbro mindset.
Well, he is a fan of everything else Hasbro outside of the pony world, so yes.
That's true.
But
Okay, the Pegasi eyeglasses
Yes.
were the most ridiculous thing when and we saw this because I think we saw like the first 5 minutes of the movie, and so that was already there. But when he's walking down the stage looking all badass with these things where you can see above him, but the flaw in the Matrix is you can't see in front of you and he falls off the stage.
It's all part of the show.
and then I did think the capture box with the machinery was kind of overkill, especially when it started putting wings and horns on.
Sunny.
Is that her name?
Sunny.
Sunny Star Scout.
She has a sunny disposition.
But I loved. So then when we moved on, and the Sunny's all depressed, and all these people are all the horses are screaming, and you see this shadow that looks like it's like Medusa, and then it's like just the one unicorn. They're all like, ah! That was kind of funny.
Well, you want to know an uncomfortable bit of history?
Sure.
I watched the documentary of the Green Book. Not the movie, the dramatized movie, but an actual documentary.
On the Knight from King Arthur.
No, that's the Green Knight. This is the Green Book, the guide through the South for black travelers.
Yeah.
A lot of people accounted that a black person appearing in town was so alien to the culture, women would scream in the middle of the street. They would outright wail at this sight.
Well, a true piece of history for me is I never met my first person of color until I was 7 years old. And this is obviously a commentary on such negative things, but it was kind of shocking for myself because I was so alienated from any other culture when I was very young that seeing somebody who didn't look like me, so to speak, was jarring.
So, truth be told, the reaction to Izzy, the first unicorn to appear in, I imagine, several generations, is actually a legitimate commentary. If anything, Izzy, who has never seen an Earth Pony, she's taking this way more in stride than everyone else.
Well,
That's what I think. That's why I think she ended up being my favorite character, because she's just oblivious to everything going on.
I don't think it's necessarily oblivious. I took her as being... I thought of her as more open-minded than actually Sunny as well, because she was willing to overlook anything. And when she and Sunny were talking, and she's like sniffing at her, and she's like, "You don't smell like sardines," and her listing off all of the terrible things that she's heard all of her life, and she's doing it in such a cavalier manner of they don't matter. And I thought that was beautiful because that's kind of how I've always been. And that's why I appreciate her, because you're taught one thing, and then when you're actually experiencing it in reality, you're like, oh, this is not at all what I thought it was going to be. Like, I remember when we first met each other, you were so, well, I'm not going to go into exactly what he was.
Oh, go ahead.
He was so quiet, so introverted, and the first thing that he hears when the two of us are together is him saying Baka-chan, which in Japanese means little fool. And you were like, oh my God, what's going on? And I just go up to you and I just talk and talk, and you're looking at me like, how can I escape this person? Like, what can I do to get away?
I've still been working on that plan for over 10 years.
It's been over 14.
Like I said, over 14 years.
Because I've known you for 15 years now.
You're never going to escape me.
Never.
But
Never. Although I should say, if we're going with that, if we're sharing those stories, when they got to meet my parents for lunch, both the parents and these two said to me later, they're not as weird as you described.
Yeah, we hear like so tall tales, kind of like in this movie, like really obscure things. You're like, that's not at all what I thought it was.
So I liked all the movie posters in the background, trying to spot, okay, horn instead of jaws, judgment nay instead of judgment day, Harry Trotter,
dirty prancing.
But there was one more.
Those are the ones I spied.
The one there, Harry Trotter, horn.
Well, those were the only ones visible.
I thought there was one more that I saw.
It could have been hidden, but I don't know.
There was a fourth poster, but I never got a good look at it.
No.
I did for a moment. Now I can't think of what it was.
But I liked, especially the Judgment Nay, and having a character look like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh yeah, he even had some tough guy name.
Yes.
It's escaping me at the moment. But.
Mm-hmm. And then I liked when, what's his name?
Sprout?
Sprout. When they're all talking about what they got to do, and Sprout just purposely steps into the trap. It's like, oh no, I'm trapped.
Honestly, I think Sprout was far funnier when he was the incompetent sidekick as opposed to the dictator he would be later. Then again, I don't think he's meant to be funny as a dictator.
No, but it made sense as a natural progression for his character because in the beginning of the movie, Phyllis, Sprout's mother, walks in like, guns a-blazing, protecting her boy and his friend from the crazy random dude that likes to talk about goodwill amongst all pony kind. And she's like all angry, and when they're leaving, he's like, someday I'm gonna be sheriff and I'm gonna clean up this town. And the mother being kind of like that, yes, honey, you are perfect in everything you do. It makes sense of how he progresses, because obviously when we fast forward, he's the deputy, and then Hitch is the actual sheriff. So it makes you wonder how he's going to take it, because later in the movie when he does take on the responsibility, his mom kind of does that same thing of like, yes, you can do it all, leading to him becoming more power hungry as he goes along.
And then she started to regret it.
Oh, yeah.
I like that they actually showed her starting to go like, okay, maybe this wasn't a good idea.
Maybe I'm not a good parent. She needs to get to that point.
But I'll get on more on him later. But
with the meeting of Sonny and Izzy, after they've had this mad escape. Oh, and I should tell you too a little bit of trivia.
Okay.
After this movie was released, they produced a few production storyboard frames that didn't make it into the movie. Mm-hmm. One of which was this elderly pony spies them and whips out this dual cannon machine gun that fires those green goop pellets. And she's taking aim. I mean, she is going full barrage. And I totally get why they didn't put that in the movie.
Oh, yes.
That would have been funny.
It would have been. I understand, but a part of me will always miss Gunner Granny.
Oh, so I like when they're in front of the lighthouse. Like, we have the place surrounded, and it just zooms out, and it's just the two of them.
All I thought of was Usopp.
Okay, I'm gonna go get backup. We have backup?
That was one of the funniest lines. Hitch, for me, is the second funniest character in the movie.
Well, because he plays it so straight. Mm. He is so... Well, James Marsden, as an actor, has always been good about playing his character very straight.
Well, look at his Cyclops.
Okay, that sounded a little Freudian. I'm going to appreciate it if you keep in mind that we are a family-friendly channel.
Do you really put that you make your videos for children?
No.
Okay, I was going to say, we have to have a conversation, sir.
Oh, no.
So, the hard part also, though, is I felt like a lot of the parts, there were parts of this movie that I felt dragged on a lot. Or parts that I felt the pacing, because there were parts where I'm sitting there like, okay, come on, when's something going to happen? Because there are some areas I felt it was too fast paced. Like they got to the...
Zephyr Heights, the mountains?
Yeah, they got there too quick, and they got captured too quick, and then they're in the throne room, then they're in the jail, but then they're taken out of the jail, and I'm like, this is too much going on in this too short of time span. Back up, slow down, get some breathing room.
There's that we almost skipped the song "I'm Looking Out for You."
Yes, which I enjoyed.
I enjoyed too. It's the most awkward music transition, as Izzy expresses a doubt, and then suddenly we're singing. It's like, whoa, that was quick.
Yes.
Are you sure you haven't? How many Disney movies have you watched?
Quite a few.
That's a Disney.
Well, there were a couple things actually. Some of the negatives I did have with this is I did feel like they were just ripping off a Disney movie.
Oh.
And I've seen this plot done before.
Well, okay. To be fair, how many movies out there haven't taken a plot of certain elements from other items?
Now, okay, my friend Josh, he stated on his Twitter, I thought Zootopia did it better.
Yep.
And I think that's a fair...
Wow.
I think that's fair. However, I'm going to say that just because one movie does it really well, does not mean another movie can't.
Well, no. I mean,
be
look how many
enjoyable.
times they've done Ferngully and Dances with Wolves and Avatar and Princess Mononoke and...
Well, actually, I'm thinking of The Book of Life and Coco.
Mhm.
Yes.
Similar mythology, but their own takes on the story.
Yeah, very different executions.
So I have Zootopia and A New Generation, both enjoyable in their own ways.
Honestly, I never thought of Zootopia, so that's an interesting parallel.
Then you didn't try everything. Oh, wow, if looks could kill.
But that was
Hold me, kaiju.
Okay.
That was the song with the
He's scarier.
rap scene with the...
No, that was later.
Okay,
That was when
good.
all of the ponies were
Okay, because
together.
that's what I was trying to think like.
No, because then we go to Zephyr Heights, which, on a personal note, I find it funny because my mom and my dad's last name is Zephyr. So I'm like, are we going to their neighborhood? That is so cool. So I actually have to post that somewhere, that
No, you don't.
the Zephyr family
The Zephyr family.
has their own heights.
So, if it's like that if their place is like in the movie, they're pretty swank.
I know, right? Sadly, it's not.
So they
but
get
that's
introduced
awesome.
to one of the princesses.
Very briefly. Oh, and can I just say I took a certain laughter when both of you asked, "Wait, that was a girl?"
Okay, it was very rushed, and the voice actress, now knowing who the voice actress is, I still haven't seen her in much, but she took a very deep presentation. And usually, sadly, from watching a lot of anime, when a female voice actress does a deeper connotation to their voice, they're usually representing a male character.
Mm-hmm.
Not to generalize, because that's unfair, but it was a very male-sounding voice, or a deeper voice.
Well, it was so quick. I thought I didn't know until they were like, "Where'd she go?" I was like, "Oh, okay."
Well,
Not that it changes anything, but it was...
no, but I wanted to put you a little more at ease. When Zip was first introduced online on Sibling Day, Pip had already been revealed to the public a little while previously. So Zip's introduction, a lot of fans were not sure if it was a stallion or a mare. I will say the character designs in this, in Friendship is Magic, it was very clear usually who was male and who was female. Males had a very square-shaped snout and were usually taller. Mares had were more curved. And this one, the lines aren't quite so distinct. Usually it's a question of size and vocal tone.
Well, I think it also has to do with the CGI.
Oh, there's that too.
Well, and so I think I mentioned this, that it made me wonder, by going on those particular connotations, if the mare specifically is part of the LGBTQ community. And that's not to assume, because I never want to presume anything, but if there is
The way she was presented.
if there is a demonstrative character that can be that representative, I think that's a positive move forward, because I know a lot of people talked about this, and we actually talked about this even well before, about people considering Rainbow Dash of the previous generation being a lesbian character, which it was one of those hard things, because sometimes you don't want to force a stereotype under any characters, because that's unfair and it's a disservice to both the storytelling as well as the community in general. And for this, it's one of those things that if it's going to be it's once again, you don't want to force it just to say we have checked off all these boxes and we're doing it because we want to hit all of these boxes.
Now, was she on a wire at that time? Cause
That's what I was... Well, no. She actually showed what she was doing Because later you see her experimenting.
Yes, but that was inside that one spot. She just randomly came up out of the clouds, flew up, came down, and then jumped and flew back into the clouds when the guards showed up.
Well, she was... the first time I watched it, I thought she was chasing Sunny and Izzy, but in truth, she was just doing really mad parkour.
That's what I thought of. After finding out that they can't fly...
Well, that's why I was confused. I was like, oh, was she having... Because it looked like she had opened her wings up during that scene.
Well, they do open their wings up.
She did open her wings. She did give a pretty impressive entrance. But that was just her catching an updraft, not able to truly lift herself. It's like, it's like a glider. Just that she had to launch herself.
It's just when everyone's like, "Oh, we can't fly," and when they're like, "Oh, we use wires," I'm like, "Wait, but earlier." Okay.
So I thought that was very interesting. It was a nice introduction, and then she's telling, "Don't say I was here." Not concerned about the fact that there's an Earth pony and a unicorn, but shh, I'm not here.
Wow.
And I loved after they get captured. I did like the elevator scene. When she's asking all her questions, even back at the earlier of the movie, when she's asking all the questions to Izzy from her book, and the one soldier starts to answer them, the other soldier's like, knock it off.
The other soldier who brought the shield. And you should both know, the screenshot of that elevator scene was one of the earliest promotional images. That tennis ball, which they even put on the Boulder Media title card, because they know us well. That became the very first G5 meme, and it has been everywhere. I will never be able to look at tennis balls the same way again.
Being that I worked in healthcare for a few years, we always used tennis balls for like the bottom of walkers and things like that, so it's an easy move across a floor.
Yes.
But I'm like, right when I saw the tennis ball, I think I exclaimed out loud. I was like, is that a damn tennis ball? Like, why?
How?
Okay, and for logistic purposes, how would that prevent mind control, telepathic abilities, telekinesis, or anything else that's magical? Is a tennis ball that miraculous of a tool that it can protect from anything? Because if it is, I need more of them.
Have you ever played fetch with a dog?
Yes.
It is that magical to them.
They're dogs, they're not...
What? You dissing dogs.
They're dogs.
Right, Jennifer.
A toilet
Hey,
bowl is magical.
Hey,
to them.
I didn't say anything about toilet bowls.
Well, that's good, because that's the sheet.
But, okay, so they get introduced to the queen and her daughters, and I did like when she's like, okay, we can't let anyone know about this, and then you have the daughter, Pip?
Yeah, Pip.
Is like, hey, look at this! We've got a unicorn and a...
That would be you. You would have the most secretive shit going on, and that, like, us responsible people would be like, okay, we should probably not talk about this, and this ass would be live streaming everything to the world.
Now, actually, the smartphones are an interesting aspect of Zephyr Heights, because here's the level of technology we witness. Also, the level of buildings.
Well, that was one thing I think is really cool.
In Maritime Bay, where Sunny lives, and all the Earth Bunnies, the buildings are no more than 2 stories usually, except for Cantor Logic, which towers over the entire town.
And I think of it as more of a 1950s type style because it's like post-industrial revolution, but pre-true modernization.
Whereas Zephyr Heights is that modernization.
Well, Maritime Bay is more like the resort place you go to for vacation.
Oh, it's so scenic.
Because you have the lighthouse, you've got next to the ocean, you have the streets. Actually, it looks like what you call it, Mario Sunshine, Delfino Plaza.
The place Peach get kidnapped for the upteenth time?
Yes.
Okay. See, we're talking about damsels in distress. Peach got the whole thing covered. But Zephyr Heights, modern city, modern technology, towering structures, several stories per building. But their emphasis, rather than Maritime Bay's defensive technology, their emphasis is on communication. And when you are living on top of a mountain and you can't fly, communication tech is going to be vital.
Absolutely.
So I like how the setting necessitates the technology. Then we get, I'm jumping a little bit ahead to Bridalwood, where most buildings, aside from Izzy's home, are only one story, mostly powered by animals making kinetic energy.
I don't know, I thought it was powered by depression.
Oh, that too. And, well, they also a very primitive society, superstition, fear of words, doing a lot of random ceremonies. Honestly, the only technology, the microphone a rhyming pony used looked to be bound up in vines. So I don't know how that worked. And Izzy's projector, but she's the grand exception. So you've got unicorns at primitive level technology. Maritime Bay, 1950s. Mm-hmm. Zephyr Heights is modern.
Yes.
And with the unicorns, for a long time, they were the ones who could project magic at will. They were, well, fans joke, they were the most powerful of the three tribes.
Well, I would agree with that.
But the flip side of that is that when magic disappeared, I imagine the other tribes had already started research into energy and technology. Unicorns, who had once been ahead of the game, were now the furthest behind.
Well, I think that would be because of their hubris.
There's also hubris.
Because of the fact that they were the most powerful, that things were much easier for them, that it's kind of like the mighty will fall. They definitely fell because they didn't have that backup plan. Mm-hmm. Because Twilight Sparkle was originally a unicorn, correct?
Yes.
And she seemed to, at least from what I remember watching from early on, she seemed to be a little bit at odds with the rest of the unicorns because she favored knowledge and learning over just the pretty majestics of it all. Mm-hmm. So I imagine that Izzy, just from how she explained, was almost that outsider as well, looking in for the rest of the unicorn.
Yes.
Now, we did skip my ultimate favorite song of the movie. Which was basically like the grunge song.
Oh, the Angry Mob?
The Angry Mob song. Because it really sounded like something that you would hear from Nirvana early on.
Bang your head.
Well, no. I'm too old for that now.
As am I. I think I threw something out.
But I love that song because it was so ridiculous.
But I did show how Sprouts rose to power. Because I liked how he would start out by himself, but then later on he'd have like 2 with them. Then suddenly he'd have 5 or 4 with them, and then just kept doubling up.
Well,
and I also thought of Be Prepared.
Oh,
but when you'd have all the hyenas just started coming.
And oddly enough, they both relied on a very poisonous green setting.
Well, and I think it also demonstrated a really big fear of the unknown, because this movie has honestly come out at the right time. Because nationally, as a culture, more American, I know other cultures have it similarly, but looking at it from American perspective, we have so much fear of our own diversity. Because everyone has been trained to look at certain cultures in a way. Even if we are so of the mindset of everybody is equal, everybody is the same,
you're still raised around, well, that person's Asian, that person's black, that person's so-and-so, there is no set, well, they're all just American. No, it's each one is separated by their race.
Even if you, what's your heritage?
German.
What's your heritage?
Irish.
That's another problem for America compared to a lot of other countries. And I've actually read a lot about this.
We focused on the origins, not
who we are.
Though, this is backtracking slightly, but I really appreciated when Sunny first met Izzy.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I could see that being a movie poster down the way, when Sunny met Izzy.
Well, Harry met Sally. It worked perfectly.
And believe me, there is plenty of shipping art of Sunny and Izzy at this point.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But when Sunny first met her, she's the most open, enthusiastic pony in Maritime Bay. But even she is like, oh, don't zap me with your horn. But you're probably already read my mind. Even someone who has a positive, open mindset is susceptible to a stereotype, fear-mongering. I drew a comparison to the book Ishmael by Daniel Quinn, who talks about mother culture. This parent we all have that no one realizes, who's feeding us a narrative from the day we're born. And it's been going on all our lives to the point we don't recognize the background noise.
Well, I can't remember the author, but in my science fiction class in college, which you still hate.
I hate that she got a science fiction class. All my creative writing people said it was too easy. They were idiots.
And I am not the biggest science fiction fan, so he's frustrated about it. But the book I read for class, I need to find the author, and I need to find it again. It's called We. And it's actually a Russian novelist who wrote the book. And it was fascinating because everybody who was a part of the group were in domes. And then you had people outside of those domes. And anybody who looked to the people who were outside were lesser humans. Even though they were the same, they were lesser than everyone else.
Is this also a book that worked with androids and the 3 rules?
No.
Okay, I'm thinking of a different book.
No, it did not have any technology. It was all about the psychological consequences of people when they're separated, how they actually communicate and connect. And this is a fascinating allegory with the movie, because the only person who was truly not racist in this entire movie was Izzy. She legitimately
went up to everyone.
She was legitimately what I think we all strive for when we say we're colorblind. That we look at people as people. And
But there's also problems when you say you're colorblind.
well, there's
Other issues develop from it.
Well, there's flaws in it, but she's legitimately that person who looks at it. And when you find out that the reason she's this way is because of Sunny and her dad Argyle, when they sent out that balloon or that lantern with the picture saying we're all friends in Maritime Bay, and having that be what really strove her to be that way, it's like, why do we as people have such a hard time? I thought that was a great teaching moment.
Okay, so after all that stuff, a couple other things I liked from in the middle section, when Hitch is doing his little speech on the mountain, I will find you no matter what, and then you have the wanted posters behind them.
And all the rabbits are like...
But I liked how the rabbits were all like into listening to him.
Oh yeah, they were his cheering section.
And then when they were in the prison, and Zip is talking to them, and then Pip shows up and has a red carpet roll through the prison thing just to talk to them for a moment, and then leaves, and they roll the red carpet back up.
That leads to one of my favorite shots in the movie. You see Pip and Zip talking, but it's from the perspective of the prisoners, so there's bars in the way. Even though they are the rulers and are technically outside the cell, they're trapped in the big lie.
Well, especially because you find out then they can't fly.
Yes, it's all wire work.
Well, and I like the when Izzy just sticks the tennis ball in the fruit bowl.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, I could have taken this off the entire time.
But she was very accommodating. She didn't want the guards to look bad.
And she legitimately didn't want anyone to feel less because of their superstitions.
So then we have the party scene, which was kind of hilarious, especially when Hitch comes in there.
Right.
No, I love the fact that they made the crown out of noodles.
And that was a good replica.
It was a great replica. I'm like, where was she in my third grade arts and crafts
she's like,
class?
oh, if you just give me some macaroni and some glue and lots of glitter, I can recreate that.
And lots of glitter.
And for a moment, we're in a heist movie. As I'll get the supplies to Izzy. Izzy will give the supplies to Sunny. Sunny will give the supplies to Izzy. Here you go. There you go. That's it.
Well, it made sense having like this heist, especially in this modern technological area, because remember Logan Lucky, a movie that we watched.
These two introduced me to that movie. I love it.
And it was ridiculous. Like, all he wanted was jelly beans to make this device. And so it kind of reminded me of that.
Especially when Daniel Cranston then explained the formula with the jelly beans.
So I kind of was hoping that may have happened, like explaining how it's done. But I like how Hitch comes there, and he saves the day unknowingly.
And first he's starting to get into the music.
Oh yeah, he got a little bounce in his buttocks.
He's got some junk in his trunk.
Which has led to more than a little bit of Hitch and Pip shipping.
Actually, I will say I would ship them. Because there were so many times through the second half
those
of the movie.
two I could clearly see that they were going to do something with.
Can you not do that?
Do what?
Yeah, usually I'm the one making the Freudian jokes here.
Because he completely fell in love with her the moment he saw her doing the thing initially.
Yeah, he was like stars in his eyes.
And I think it's because he's never seen someone doing something like that before.
It's like when you have that silence and you have that...
And then when they were just chatting, when they were agreeing with each other...
Well, that leads to the separation of ponies in this group of 5. You've got Sunny, Izzy, and Zip.
As the main 3, essentially.
But not. That's the strange thing. In all the merchandising, it's Sunny, Izzy, and Pip. They're the core trio, the representatives of each faction.
But Zip
had more...
That is my confusion. And I think it's because you have Sunny, who is the explorer. She's adventurous. You have Izzy, who is the, chaotic, free spirit. She's all disheveled maid. And then, I guess, marketing-wise, you have Pip, the coiffed feminine. But
Zip had the bigger role because Pip's only there because of Zip.
Exactly. This is my confusion. Why they arranged it.
Is it because they're scared to have a character that may represent the LBGT stuff as their main?
I don't want to assign a motivation. I can only express my own confusion. Because the quality of Zip, Izzy, and Sunny is that they look at a situation and they see it different from everyone else. Hitch and Pip both say that's the way things are.
Well, okay, the 3, Zip, Izzy, and Sunny are proactive.
Yes.
Hitch and Pip are reactive.
They are. Because Hitch and Pip enjoy places of prominence. Hitch is a respected sheriff, a pillar, has a paid-off mortgage. Good job, dude.
Well, and so that's a little disappointing in my perspective, not just because of the possible representation quandary, but Zip I felt to be more, in all honesty, I thought more representative of somebody who is responsible, because Pip, at least how she was presented in this movie...
She was completely irresponsible.
She was more focused on the glory than what it can resolve for the whole. Where Zip was more focused on, yes, I have to do this because it's the way it is, but... I don't want to be that way. I want to have better circumstances.
That's why I like that prison bar shot.
Well, and like when we saw the queen and the 2 princesses coming down, you have the queen coming down very regally. You had Pip coming down on her phone, not a care in the world. And you had Zip coming down looking face forward, but resigned to her responsibility.
Not knowing that this is wrong, but not seeing it out.
Exactly. And so I respected Zip for that much more because she knew right from wrong, but had to work within the system to fix it.
Much like Sunny, again, I think this goes we're all drawn to Izzy. She is the initiator of much of this.
She really is.
Granted, she could do so because of a letter she received, but she's the one who first took the greatest risk. Pip, in my eyes, is the weakest character in this story.
I agree.
Definitely.
Because we never really get to inside the workings of her mind. Hitch, we get to see a little bit more of how he views the world. Even though he is trying to defend the status quo, you understand that he respects the strength and stability being a sheriff could offer. Pip, as far as I know, only delights in the adulation of the crowd. And even when we never really get to see her wake up to the greater responsibility.
No, because that was one of the frustrations for me, is that when she inevitably tags along, it is because it's either that or go to prison with her mother.
Who looks pretty fashionable in a mugshot.
Oh, I like though when the mother was showing being carted off to prison. She's like, no photos. Okay, just one. And then when she's doing the prison thing, when she's telling them to run, but then she stops for them to take the picture.
But I'm like, you're here because this is the lesser of two evils in your opinion. You're not here because you actually want to see anything change. And
she just she takes it, whereas Hitch had to be convinced.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong here, just come on.
Which leads us to the campfire scene.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one very subtle thing I really enjoy. As they're walking and complaining, having the intra-group arguments, Hitch realizes he's lost his sheriff's badge.
Right.
And he accuses Izzy because the stereotypes are still powerful. Izzy doesn't even get offended at being so falsely accused.
No.
She just rolls. But she even makes the joke, that was creating an unhealthy power dynamic. It's not entirely wrong. But you notice that Hitch, now that he's lost the symbol of his authority, going, but I'm the sheriff. Well, now he doesn't have that to show off. He drops his defenses and joins the group at the campfire.
Well, I think because he came to the conclusion that everybody else was, that he's just like everyone else. Just because even if he still had his badge, he's just a person.
But I find it symbolic that he left that behind, and in doing so was more open. It's like you have to leave behind titles and status quo and rank in order to really broaden your perspective.
Well, I think everybody's like that. I really say that was probably one of my favorite areas with Hitch, because it was trying to think. There's a movie reference I was thinking of when we were watching a movie. Can't remember anymore, but I adore characters that have to go through that emotional roller coaster. And he was one of them, because even as a child, in the beginning of the movie, he was so much more open-minded. Like, Sprout had the illusions of grandeur when he just wanted to be a kid at that point. And then when you saw those tables turn, where he was the sheriff and Sprout was the sidekick, you're like, okay, kind of like what you're talking about, having that background story. It would be interesting, because I can allude to maybe he had a tougher childhood, had to work harder, didn't have the ability to have things handed to him. Because obviously of that trio, Sprout and Sunny had more opportunities handed to them, being of where their parents were in that power structure.
I don't know if Sunny she was the outcast.
She was the outcast, but she had a roof over her head that was steady even after her father passed away. Didn't seem to have any extreme responsibility comparatively. Similar to like Sprout, it seemed like he was more doing it to still have that power.
I did like it at the end there when Hitch is like, "Ooh, unicorn forest. This sounds fun." And then they get there and they're like, "Or not."
Or not. Yeah, wow. I mean, that looks more like Sure Whoop Forest.
It was very concerning because looking at it from a mental illness perspective, having so many characters
Eeyore.
that were that desolate or depressed and everything like that was very concerning.
Well, yeah, even the palette used for their designs, there seemed to be a more gray mixed in, so the colors were more subdued.
They were getting their Zack Snyder on.
Oh God! If we get a Snyder cut of this movie.
However, I will admit, seeing the couple of green ponies that were that darker shade of green, I was living my life. I was like, that was a beautiful tone with the bluish hair.
Well, the other thing though is cool is everything was dark, like dark for the whole forest until they got to Izzy's place. Her place was colorful, looked like all the plants were alive and vivid,
and she said my sparkle is too intense for everyone else.
Now, I did like when they went to the bar.
And
I know it's the cafe, but come on.
Tea shop. It's a bar. Although, real quick, the song Fit Right In is probably the most unified song.
Oh, I love that song.
That was great.
With the rap sequence and everything.
Oh, yeah, that's where they have the
yeah, I don't even like rap music, but that was a cool sequence.
Oh.
It was really animated really well.
Oh, yes. So, high props to production. Although I am going to be just a little bit of a negative Nelly. Because we had the campfire scene, which is very often used in movies as the bonding area.
Yes.
It's where you shed all distraction. And I really like that in a movie that features so much technology in this once magical world, it's getting down to one of the most basic technologies that everyone gets to bond. But having that, and then a musical where everyone starts working together, it feels like you've layered two similar scenes together, which eats up the hour-and-a-half runtime.
Well, I think the hard part with a campfire scene is you can't have anything like bombastic like that type of song.
And there is that.
And I think for the reason why that was there is because they needed to look for the crystal and they had to all pretend to be unicorns. So the Fit Right In song was meant to help progress that along. Not to further the bonding, because the bond was already started. It was to progress it further for a story narrative. It might not have been the best way to do it, but that song, no matter what you say, that song was
that song was
awesome.
excellent. I have no complaints about the song, merely its utilization alongside the fireside talk.
No, I could, because it's kind of like the whole pacing thing. I don't think it was badly paced, but I do think it didn't leave for a lot of breathing in between.
Now, we had to talk about this while we were after the movie. Mm-hmm. To date, I'm only aware of 4 sandwiches that could not be enhanced with the addition of mayonnaise. There are only 4. Let's see here. What were they?
Peanut butter and jelly.
Peanut butter and jelly. Reuben. A meatball sub.
Yes.
And a peanut marshmallow.
It's called a fluffernutter.
Fluffernutter.
So basically, it's peanut butter and marshmallow fluff on a sandwich. It is spectacular.
Although, everyone, I want you to make your voices known in the comments if you want the Kaiju no Kami to try peanut butter, jelly, and mayonnaise sandwich. Yes.
No.
Yes. The people will speak.
Nope.
The people will speak.
This ain't a democracy.
No, this is the United States of I said so.
But, okay. Still, with that said, I want to know what made mayonnaise a triggering situation.
It's like Tachibana.
Ah!
And Moonraker.
Like,
Well, that just hurts my brain.
Like, I can understand why magic is, because obviously unicorns not being able to do magic. When she lists off, like, the first part of the list, I was like, okay, that makes sense. They're unicorns.
Oh.
But when they got to mayonnaise, I'm like, that's cruel. I was thinking of Beast from Kamen Rider Wizard, for anybody who does know Tokusatsu on his channel.
Because this is going on my channel.
It's going on both channels.
Oh my god.
My channel.
But anyways, I'm like, I have a love for mayonnaise. How can you have a problem with mayonnaise? I will eat mayonnaise on sandwiches, on hamburgers. I will even dip my fries in mayonnaise.
Actually, that sounds appealing. I haven't tried that before.
It's actually pretty good.
Oh!
For those who haven't seen any of the Japanese Kamen Rider series, Beast was a character who so adored mayonnaise. In fact, the actor himself loved mayonnaise so much he swapped the ingredient. He puts it on everything.
Including donuts.
Including donuts. So, mayonnaise on everything. So, this guy, being in Bridalwood, God, if I can do some fancy schmancy editing to put these together. Yes.
Alright, so...
Yes.
Yes. Beast versus Bridalwood.
I will say the
that would be
Dance
hilarious.
Revolution scene actually... I had a hard time following that scene.
I loved it, but then again, I
But,
love Dance Revolution.
Well, no, I had a hard time following what they were doing. And then also, I felt like it was too easy for her to get the third one.
Well-
it was too predictable.
Well, pride cometh before a fall. And Bridalwood... Okay, granted, it went by really fast. And that was the one time Pip and Sunny had a genuine conversation.
Yes.
But I felt like Pip should have been the one to do that, not Sunny.
Well, honestly, that would have made a lot of sense. Although the dancing likely would have shaken the cloak off of her, revealing her wings.
But I did like the scene when they got revealed anyway, so it's not like it mattered.
But after the
But I
dancing.
did like the scene when she goes up to the bar. Sunny goes up to the bar and is just acting all gruff.
Like a Western.
Oh, yeah. Well, and Alpha Biddle. So if I had to choose, like, my favorite non of the main characters, he would be it. Now, obviously, it helps that Phil Lamar is voicing him, who has voiced Green Lantern,
Samurai
Jack, so many iconic characters.
Static Shock, I think.
No.
No?
He's too old for Static Shock.
He was Jon Stewart.
Oh, he was Jon Stewart, but I could swear.
Nope.
Okay, well, I'll have to look that up later.
But have you even met Phil Lamar in person? He is like this overly happy person. The life does not weigh that dude down. So having him play Alpha Biddle, I actually love that character.
Although, think for a moment, Samurai Jack's voice actor and Green Lantern, and then you cut to Bing! Bing bong!
And then trying to talk at the same time, like, I will get you next time.
You won't get away with this. I am actually going to look up, because I could swear, because I feel like I did this for a video. Sometimes I can forget the very things I've done in a video.
So after we have them get revealed and they have the whole chase sequence and then they have like the whole stare down and then the mother shows up. I like so the mother's being chased, she stops there, and then he says something and the guards are chasing him.
You were incorrect. Phil Lamar does do stacks. The kid.
I thought you were saying...
No, you were correct.
Okay. Wait, can you say that again?
You were correct, Silver Quill.
Oh, slower.
You were correct.
Oh.
Silver Quill.
Oh, my heart's skipping all kinds of beats.
And this is why my family think that we have a very strange relationship.
How you doing?
Okay.
What? Oh, he's touching my phone. He's touching my phone.
But I will never hug you.
This is the closest to contact we've ever gotten. I must treasure this moment. Please don't question my masculinity if I cry.
I thought it was... Okay, that's fine. Whatever.
Wait a minute. You were just tapping my chest.
Oh my god.
Was that my floof?
So anyway, back to what I was trying to say. So I like when the queen's being chased by the guards because she's broke out of prison. They're
I want to
starting.
know how the hell she broke out of prison.
And he said, Alpha Battle says something.
Alpha Biddle.
Biddle. And then the guards say, don't talk to our queen like that.
She's not a queen here.
Okay, when we had the introduction of the queen, my comment while watching the movie is like, is it a queen or a queen? And admittedly, it is both.
Yes.
Because,
go on.
well, the voice actress for the queen is Jane Krakowski, and she is a great comedian. She's actually one of the main characters in the series 30 Rock, and she plays kind of like this ditzy, self-important actress. And any role I've ever seen Jane Krakowski in, she kills it. So seeing it for this, I was like, yes!
So, okay.
Perfect voice casting.
Then we have the typical, I was wrong about everything. I'm all depressed now. I'm going home. I'm just going to act depressed. Which is like, that was one thing I was like, oh, we have this going on. Because of course we do. And then she finds out, oh, wait, there's another crystal. I didn't think about that because plot convenience.
Well, also assumptions. The big thing is everyone else has magic, not Earth ponies. That's the assumption.
And then we get finally our big scene when Sprout has his Hitler scene.
The machine. What was
Sprouticus Maximus.
Yes, which was not a ripoff of Transformers at all. No.
And then he comes down with all the because I liked earlier the one scene when he's coming in the elevator doing the Darth Vader breathing, and because of whatever he was wearing, it looked kind of like he had a helmet on, and then it was just him sucking on the thing, and then the next time you see him, he's got all these medals, dressed up like a dictator that has been won all these awards.
Self-congratulatory.
And then he goes full on Hitler mode.
Okay.
And then, but I did like when he goes up to the podium, he's like, like, oh yeah, here.
For his stool.
A little stool, crank him up.
So there's this song called Schwein. It's by
Schwein.
It's by a Russian band.
Glucosa.
Thank you, honey. Can I explain it? Well,
My neck is getting tired.
the dictator.
Well, we have been recording for almost an hour and a half.
We're going as long as the movie. Yes.
The dictator in the movie, obviously I'm not going to go into everything because it's... But the dictator is like this really tiny person. And that's all I thought of when seeing Sprout, especially asking for his bench to stand on.
He hasn't a leg to stand on.
That's because Schwein is basically Nazi Germany.
Yes. Well, I was trying not to get into that, but sure.
Now, I share your frustration with Sonny hitting this low point. I understand that there's got to be a point where the hero hits rock bottom, but I give up and go home, we've seen it happen a lot.
And I felt like it went against her character. Because her character, if she was going to get that way, she would have gotten that way well earlier into the movie when everyone was hating on her. It just felt that it was just a complete 180 to me.
Yeah. She kind of did just before Izzy showed up. She was sitting alone, looking at the ocean, looking very dejected.
Well, yeah, but it just felt like they were just... It was out of the blue here that she didn't even think of any other solution. She just instantly, as if they're like, oh, we don't have time to have her actually reflect on this. We've just got to jump into, boom, depression mode, go home.
And then that actually carries forward into the climax, because this is probably my biggest complaint about the movie. We are still chasing the red herring of the crystals. And the climax is them trying to get them all into this uniquely customized podium.
Yes.
But boy, her father really had some secret projects going on.
Her father was definitely an evil villain in disguise.
So I did like when they destroyed one of the things on the robot that was shooting the green things, when they unscrewed it and it went flying, and they're like, okay, maybe that was a bad idea.
That was a bad idea, but that's part of the problem. You have the marketing trio, Sonny, Izzy, Pip, on one project, get the crystals in, which is not a proper goal. And then you have Hitch and Zip, who are not succeeding in stopping the robot.
No.
Our main cast is actually very ineffective during this climactic battle. Because they're chasing the red herring
Well,
of the
yeah,
crystals.
and they didn't even have to do anything with the crystals. The crystals just magically come together after everything's fallen apart.
Although, I just think it would have been better if they abandoned the crystals and try to stop the army through teamwork and coordination, and in doing so,
It activated the crystals.
it did, because we're getting a set of events that actually diminish the energy rather than build it.
Well, especially because right before that, Izzy and gang come to the lighthouse, or no, come to meet her. They kind of meet together
as they're being chased by the...
as she's being chased, and their reasoning for doing so is even if we don't get our magic again, we still want to be friends. And I thought that was a more powerful, climactic.
Well, yeah, and I felt like them getting their magic back at the end just felt so generic and out of place. That should have been something maybe the series itself would tackle, is now that they're together, how do they get their magic back? Instead of it just randomly happening at the end of the movie.
And then she becomes an alicorn, which I know I've heard you talk about before.
Oh, haven't I?
As a big bone of contention, because it's almost like a Deus Ex Machina.
Well, folks have complained Twilight saved Equestria 3 times over before she got wings and a horn. Sunny got them almost by default.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I like your idea, but at the same time, I wonder, would the movie feel unsatisfying if all of this was just a build-up to start the journey? It's like Mortal Kombat, the most recent one, that did feature Mortal Kombat.
But no, the whole point of the movie was to get all three groups back together.
Yes.
They didn't need to have them get their magic aspect. They could just ended with the movie like, okay, you know what? We don't really need magic. We're back. We've come to realize we're not different.
But they would need a hint that they were starting to reignite.
Well, maybe have the crystals make a spark that gives them a magic for a quick moment. Like maybe
yes.
she goes in the air with the wings and the horns, and then when she comes back down, it disappears.
Or maybe give it a spark, even if you don't get magic, to show that there's...
Or, I mean, even though it would be somewhat cliche, the three crystals suddenly fly across the world. And then it becomes, well, maybe we need to go and find the crystals, a la like Dragon Ball, to reignite the magic. But on their way, they're going to get even more people, like we didn't know this race existed, or what happened to these people, and then discover why the magic had disappeared in the first place.
Because that's actually a good point, because from watching some of your videos, or even having conversations, there are other races outside of just the Pony Kingdom.
Oh, yes. Several.
Because, what happened to them all in this time?
Although, if they're doing this like Dragon Ball, does that mean gathering all three crystals will let you wish for a girl's panties?
No.
Okay, and can I just say how much of an impact your encouragement of Super Sentai's had on me? At the end, where the three crystals are flying up and taking a formation, I'm thinking of O-Ranger and their final mech as it assembles by just sort of falling upon itself, kind of like a sandwich with mayonnaise.
Boom, boom. But I think it would have been more interesting if they hadn't gotten their magic back, and the series just ends with them being reunited as races, learning, you know what, we're not the way we were all taught to look at each other. That would have been much more impactful than just, oh, we all have magic back, so everything's happy. Now we're all friends because we all have our magic again.
But I made this comment during the movie. What the hell is the Earth Pony's magic?
In G4, it was the assertion that they could interact with the land and make things fertile and grow very effectively.
Well, couldn't unicorns do that?
Don't tell them. The Earth Ponies would feel sad. Look, here's the thing.
What type of power do you want? Do you want to fly? Do you want to have a magical horn? Or do you want to make the ground glow?
You want to know something better? In Friendship is Magic, unicorns could cast spells to give them wings.
So the horn's the best power.
It really was. That led to more than a few jokes from the
The
fandom.
other problem I have with the ending is there were no consequences to Sprout.
Ah, okay. You are singing the refrain of just about every My Little Pony season finale. Equestrian justice is too lenient.
That's an understatement.
Oh, you have... Believe me.
The problem is this guy just, like...
He became a dictator.
He became a dictator and tried to cause mass genocide, start a war with the entire rest of the world, and all he did was get a...
Look, a flying dog.
You lost.
Well, okay. One thing I find funny is they mentioned they signed the Sprout Act. Does that legally absolve him? Not morally, not in terms of genuine justice, but does he have an out because they signed an actual act?
Well, and that's my... And all he was told is not to start a war.
He had one job, Sprout. One job.
Well, that's the problem. It's like... I don't know. Maybe in the series he'll be paying for some consequences. Maybe he'll be doing community services or something.
He definitely shouldn't be on the police force anymore.
But there was no consequence in this movie for him, and that was frustrating because it's like that's like if you have what you call it, Sauron in Lord of the Rings. Going back to that, after everything's done, Sauron, after Mordor has collapsed, Sauron just gets up and like, shh. All right, thanks guys, and grabs a suitcase. I'm going to head to a beach.
God, I want that extended cut. That would be awesome. Dang it! Can we get the entire cast and production crew back together for that one?
Sauron's actor is dead.
No, that's Saruman.
Oh, sorry. No, I thought
Christopher Lee was Saruman.
Oh!
Sauron is the all-seeing eye.
Oh, then never mind.
Yeah, I think you can get many actors to play that. I think.
But yeah, or even but all those things. It was just like, okay, what?
Now, as far as I know, the production schedule is that there'll be a special in the spring of next year, followed by the series itself in, I think, fall of 2022.
Now, I'm wondering what the series is going to do.
I'm curious as well, because as you say, the big conflict is the restoration magic. What do you do with the series then? And it may go into slice of life. There's always been a debate in the Brody fandom. Was Friendship is Magic an adventure story with slice of life elements, or a slice of life show with a few adventures?
I would think of it more of a slice of life with a few adventures.
But yeah, they should have made it that this series could have been full-on adventure.
You never know. They could
different.
They could take the anime route where they could retell the entire movie in a series.
No, I don't need a Dragon Ball Rebirth of F series.
Resurrection of F.
Press F to pay respects.
Or now that they're doing with Demon Slayer, the Mugen Train.
Oh. Well, I need to catch up on that.
But that's all I can think of that they could really do. But
there is one other thing.
Uh-huh.
The map of Equestria, at least,
it's very small.
Actually, no, it's quite huge. But I'm talking of Friendship is Magic.
Oh, okay, because I'm like, if that's huge, then were they playing like Sentai physics where they can get across this entire country in like a minute and a half?
It's true. If you go in by Sentai shows and them looking, Japan is about 3 blocks wide.
4 blocks.
4 blocks. Oh, we're going crazy.
I say 4 blocks because it's a square radius with a gravel pit on one side.
But what were you saying?
In Friendship is Magic, Equestria was so wide that you had not just variant cultures, but completely different cultures.
Well, weren't there like Egyptian type ponies?
There were.
So I remember that.
There were Oriental ponies. There was a New York proxy. There was a Wild West proxy. It was so massive. If you traveled far enough, it almost seemed like a whole other country.
Because it seemed like these 3 populations were so entirely small.
Yeah, so if this is the whole of Equestria in quote-unquote olden times, this is how much we've seen in this current generation.
I guess, like Wind Waker.
Yes, so there is potential to expand out and see how other elements handled the fall.
Well, actually, this would be interesting if it was only these 3 pockets that separated like that.
Well, it could be interesting if it turned out that what we saw was a post-apocalyptic world.
I gotta say, this is the cutest dystopia I've ever seen.
I know, right?
But I don't know. Like I said, there's just too many things with the ending. I felt was just too cliche. With the crystals and the magic returning and everything, it would have been way more interesting to not have because then you're also expecting that by the end the magic's going to return. If it had, you'd be like, oh, whoa, really? They're not bringing the magic back at the end? Okay, now this is interesting.
Oh, Snapple.
Oh, Snapple.
How have they not made that a branding thing? I deserve credit if they adopt that catchphrase.
Oh, Snapple.
Yeah, but then Snapple will be like, you're infringing on our copyright.
You're infringing on my personal space. Get off my lawn! I don't have a lawn.
But for me, overall,
I don't. Sad.
It wasn't bad. There were parts that I was bored with. There were parts I really liked. There were some characters I was just like, they're what you expect.
For me, all the weaknesses in the movie are potential opportunities for the series, something to expand on. I really love if Pip became a more fleshed out character than just the social media diva. So I'd like to really see some character development for her and an expansion of this world.
The other thing is, like, the animation was good for the most part, but nobody had a shadow. I don't recall seeing any
Are
shadow.
they all dead?
Oh God, it really is a dystopia question. We're seeing the literal post-apocalypse.
Because the dead don't cast any shadow.
Because I don't recall seeing any shadows unless they were very tiny that they just weren't noticeable.
Well, it is called My Little Pony.
Well,
two of the things I did like. The pony who jumps into the water the first time Izzy appears, and then as he's climbing out and Sprout is doing his song and kind of knocks the guy back in there.
Of course, we don't see him again, so did he drown?
But we did see the...
that is kind of
we did see the up pony coming back down.
Yeah, he's coming down. Okay, first off, if the guy did drown, did we just watch a pony snuff film? Yep, I can ruin anything. And my friend Dusty, he's wondering, how did that guy survive for what seems like at least a week?
I thought the same thing, because I'm like, no food, no water, a human can't, well, a pony.
Are you kidding me? That was probably all like one day.
Very possible. Well, okay, they definitely had at least 2 night scenes.
Yes.
But I will say he's a model. I bet he's been on even harder diets.
That's true. That is very true.
So, what did you think of the movie overall?
Overall, I really enjoyed it. I liked how the humor really connected with all ages. They did humor that catered obviously to children and then adults. I wouldn't mind watching it again if it were to ever pop up or anything like that.
You're hanging with me. It'll pop up again.
Oh, absolutely. I will say it is nice to get to from the start watching the characters, because the challenge with Friendship is Magic is when I really found out about it from you, I think it was already in season 2.
I thought it was season 3 because Chris started talking about it.
Well, because you started your YouTube channel in what season for them?
After season 3.
Okay, then probably it was season 3. So I know it was like far enough in fandom-wise that I would have played a lot of catch-up. So it was just an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the characters. So this was nice to be able to be introduced to the characters from the start. I am happy that it's going to be on Netflix, because if Netflix does change their process to be more of a television network, at least we know we're going to get the higher quality animation, because it looks like it's done possibly through the DreamWorks studio.
No, well, it had DreamWorks elements. Hitch's smile is very DreamWorks protagonist.
That's what I thought. So
it's done by, well, okay, this movie is done by Boulder Media. There's been a call for a production company in Canada to work on a My Little Pony project, which may be... Actually, I have a hard time believing it'd be the new cartoon series if they're aiming for a release just a year from now.
well, there's that. I think the only concern I have about it, and I know this is something that we each talked about, is they use some known actors. They have Jane Krakowski, they have Phil Lamar, I could see being television shows. Jane most likely as well. But you had Kim Jong, who has a very full plate with all of his other endeavors.
Yeah, I don't know if he could commit to a
James Marsden, I don't know if he could commit to it. And then you have Vanessa Hudgens as well, who's very well known. That I'm a little afraid of the voice actor changes. Now, the benefit is you do have Netflix money behind it, so they could possibly get them.
Or are they going to change the main characters for the series itself?
Change the main characters, because if we have the main characters with different voices...
That's happened before.
It's happened before, but in this day and age...
What's the point of casting those people if you're not going to retain them?
Because it's not like back in the 80s where you have Nimoy voicing Galvatron, and then it goes to a different voice actor.
Back to Frank Welker.
That's expected when it's in the 80s because that was the thing. But now in this modern era, you have known actors doing different things because of the changing of the entertainment landscape. So I'm kind of hoping they don't change the voice cast, because I want to see some consistency, especially if it's going to be something like this. Now, I know the other argument you had is why not utilize voice actors, like actual...
Yeah, use voice actors for
voice
voice actors.
Well, Phil Lamar is a voice actor.
And that's fine, because he but there are others, like, use voice actors for voice actors. Use actors for actors.
Yeah, this is a big talk in the entertainment industry where using big names to try and draw the parents. They'll say, "Oh, I know that person." Really, kids. When I watched Transformers, the 1986 movie, I didn't care.
No.
Well, okay.
I didn't even know who Orson Welles was.
And sometimes it doesn't even. Well, neither did I. I just know people are like, "Oh my God, it's Orson Welles." I'm like, "Okay, I'm 4 years old. Who's that?"
4 years old. I was 6.
So, back when Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse came out, they were talking about that they had these big named actors in there. And some people were like, I don't care that they're in it, it's animated, I don't know, I'll watch it. Like, when we were at the draft house, there was one kid showing his mom, like, look, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. She's like, we're not watching an animated movie. I'm not watching that, I don't care who they got in there.
Well, I'm sorry, that mom missed out.
Well, and I think that's a change in dynamic is I don't think big name actors hold as much weight as they did before for animated films. Because we do have so many talented actors and actresses who do voiceover work primarily. You have Stephen Bloom. You have Tara Strong, who was in Friendship is Magic. You have great and talented voice actors that, like for the argument with Super Mario.
Oh, here we go.
No, I'm not going to.
No, this is the elephant in the room.
No, I'm not going to get into that because that's unfair and it's deviating. But
Wait. I forgot.
Oh, Jesus!
This is the plumber in the room.
Mario.
Yo.
It's a me, Star-Lord.
Hey, what's up, man? I'm Star-Lord. I mean Mario. You get it, right? It's the me, Mario. I'm totally not Star-Lord. I'm totally not Star-Lord. Just believe me, okay?
Okay. And now Mario will dance off screen. Come and get your love.
Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum.
And if it wasn't copyrighted before, Nintendo's going to be on our case like nobody's business.
No shit. But
Oi.
oi.
Oi
To the world.
to the world.
But we'll see what happens. I'm not like at this point like, oh my God, I want to see more. I'm just like, okay, it was cool.
But you'll watch more. Because you'll have no choice.
I'll have a choice.
No, you won't.
I believe you've been outvoted.
No.
Because we're going to watch that special. Because I actually am curious to see how they're going to handle
You
the
can
special.
watch it without me.
You live here.
You can watch it without me.
You live here.
I will play it on full volume.
If you want to have more content for your channel.
Oh my god, okay, we're not getting into channel wars right now. Channel wars!
Oh my god, you could become the new up-and-coming Brony reviewer.
I was going to try to do the Beast Wars theme, and now you just ruined it.
Shadow Wars.
So what did you think of the movie?
I already gave my thoughts
So
on
what
it.
did you think of the movie?
I too gave my thoughts. We got distracted.
I'm so confused.
We hit a warp zone.
Yes.
But I enjoyed it, and I hope the series will
And I
flesh
think
out
we
the
have
weaker
now
aspects.
exceeded the runtime of the movie, so we should probably wrap this up.
With 3 people, I'm okay with that. If I were talking for an hour and a half about it, it's like, Silver, you don't have to go over every blessed scene.
Well, we also skipped a lot of scenes.
I think we covered a good amount.
And we went into tangents like we always do.
And we do, but that's very human. It's part of the fun. But, thank you all for watching us, for giving us your time and attention, or just having us in the background as you do your own thing. It's greatly appreciated. So,
Yes.
where can you connect with Kaiju no Kami?
Well, first, click like, subscribe, the bell notification, and whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support us. You can support me and Cruellica at Kaiju no Kami on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Patreon, and our website.
Well, Patreon at what? Kaiju no
Kaiju no
Kami.
Kami. And the website, Creativity by Design, LLC.com, and there is also a Kaiju no Kami store now open, so you can get Kaiju no Kami the t-shirt, Kaiju no Kami the pen, Kaiju no Kami the notebook, Kaiju no Kami the poster, Kaiju no Kami the water bottle, but no
Jesus.
Kaiju no Kami the flamethrower.
You know what we need to do?
Silver Quill the flamethrower?
No. Nobody is getting a flamethrower. How many times do I have to explain this? No flamethrowers.
Well, now I'm sad.
But I was going to say,
well-
maybe we can add a bunch of your stuff to our store so people can easily get your stuff too.
Or we're working on the website idea for
Yes.
myself. That's a whole other project. Oh, come on. I get there. But as for myself, you can always find MLP Silver Quill on YouTube, on Twitter, on DeviantArt. Also on my YouTube page, if you go to the About, you can find links to everything. So, this has been a wonderful chance to connect with my friends who are not bronies, but are willing to indulge and explore and talk
Yeah.
about chess
I
moves.
did it in high school as too, so.
You
Or
did My
college.
Little Pony? You really are 27.
Wow, that was like, what, in the 1800s?
Okay, I need to get out of... Why am I in the
Were
middle
you the
of this?
basis for Bram Stoker's novel?
Oh dear. Oh, she's leaning. She's leaning. I am in distress. Someone help me. I am a dude in distress.
You need to let go. I'm not that old. With that said, because this is going to get very toxic, bye.
Until next time.
I'm Silver Quill. Thanks for watching. Help!
Bye.